Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, there is like a phenomenal quote. What will you do with this one wild, phenomenal life that you have been given? And I want to talk a bit about that, about like literally the life that you want. And this is an interesting thing is that what I'm finding, and I had this theory of this thing called like the cycle of completion, you know, so my life will be better when I get that mountain bike. My life will be better when
it's not.
I get that car. My life will be better when
I get that promotion or whatever.
That life will be better when I get that jacket. My life will be better when this particular thing happens. And what I'd often find is that like you would get that thing and life didn't really change. And what I learned though is that like it was more about like learning what it would take to be able to get something like that and learning what it takes, the discipline to save the money to make those things happen. And what I'm working on at the moment is this foundational conversation around what are the things that you know that you can immediately say yes to, right? So if I said to you, where do you want your life to go in the next 20 years? There might be some things you go, I'm not sure on that, but there are some things that you can definitely say yes to. So if I said, Con, in 20 years' time, would you like to be healthy?
Yes.
Do you want to be able to lift yourself out of a car?
Yes.
Do you want to be in a position that you can be a great parent to your children?
Yes.
Do you want to be and consistently stay a great partner to Emily?
Yes.
Okay, great. Would you love to be in the pursuit of a business that you like doing every day?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, I got it. I understand.
Do you want to be in a position that you want to become a great chef?
No,
but you're good on the barbecue. Right? Emily, sorry, I have to ask.
It's me, mate.
But like, so what I'm trying to get you to think about is you can say instantly to those things. But yet if I said to you, but you know, how do you want to be remembered? Or what sort of legacy do you want? Or, and for some people, they're not in a situation like you yet. Like, do you want to have a partner? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to do those things? You know, because we're all at very different ages and stages, right? But I'm trying to get you to think about if there are things that you know that you can instantly say yes to, then can you just start working towards those? So the things that
it's a good way of framing it, actually.
The things you're not yet clear about, where there's fog, that's okay.
Well, you can let them develop, but instead of just kind of existing and not moving forward in a direction, I'm a big believer that, you know, this is the game of life. Our job is to design the game that we want to win. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's kind of like, remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
So what about the David Allen quote? Like, this is the game of business and the business of life.
Yeah. It is, but like I'm kind of
gamification is playing with it more.
I think it is, but I think what you just said, like I had a little bit of an aha moment there, an epiphany where what do I want to say yes to? So what can I immediately say yes to? You know, you said, do you want to be healthy in 20 years? Yes. Do I want to be able to lift myself out of a car? Yes. So for me, then I've got to put the actions in today for those basic things that sound basic today that might be challenging in the future. By the way, I'm still young, mate, so in 20 years I should be able to still bench press my body weight. But
sure, but you know, like whenever you're well, you don't realise that you're well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's almost like that hindsight of when you're in a really good space work-wise and home-wise and, you know, you got deals happening and things are in full flight. Sometimes you don't even realise that this is like not the best that it's going to be, but this is a great moment. I think that's a really interesting perspective on being able to really stop and think about the life that you want to live. And the beauty about our industry is you can design the best life possible. It allows us, it gives us the opportunity to excel and to be able to do what we do to create time, space, money, whatever it might be. You get that opportunity, but you only get it if you earn it.
So what I've noticed is that when I work with people and I just have conversations with people about you, people say, he always makes me feel really good and he makes me feel visionary and he makes me like reconnect back with like where I want to go. And he's able to just do that in under a couple of minutes. And there's a good energy and there's a good vibe. And like you might not realize that, but that was an encoding that you have grown up with.
Yeah, I do. But I'm kind of looking at it going,
but you leverage that now.
Yeah, I do, because, mate, I see the magic in all people. So sometimes you need someone to highlight. Someone did that to me when I was a young boy and when I was a teenager and then when I was, you know, early on in my career. Someone saw the magic that I've got. but you've got magic, and the person listening on at the end of this in their in their car driving right now has magic in them. So how do you unlock that magic? Because
so I think, like, first of all, work with some people around you and get them to identify what strengths that you've got.
yeah, but also realise.
So, like Dad said to me, don't be a DJ. You can't be a DJ and a real estate agent. Well, I thought that they were two amazing careers at the same time. And you know what the DJing taught me? How to run an audience, how to work a crowd, how to make sure that people felt good in the moment, like learning the disciplines, setting it up, the structures, the finances, the invoicing, getting the music, the selection, the preparation, all of that. Mate, there is no difference now in what you get to go and do in running a training session inside an organisation, or being able to work a great board meeting, or being able to do something in terms of developing a brand. And I think that, like, the foundational conversation is that the life that you want is not as far away as you think.
I agree with that.
But the interesting thing is you're one or two small decisions every day away from a completely different life.
Yeah, and also, mate, like, are you making long-term decisions based on short-term circumstances?
Sure.
So what do you need to remove, or what do you need to add, or what are the strengths you need to add or develop to be able to get you to that point?
So I think that, like, I say to people, like, hey, that's a moment of fog. And, versus that's a moment of sunshine. And this happened in our business. It was awesome. Like, Jessica is in our team. We were there at a team meeting, and one day she said, oh, what do you want to do about this? And I said, oh, I'm not sure yet. And she said, fog. I'm like, okay, I could do this. And she said, sunshine. And it was a great moment that, like, together we came up with a term, and we now use that really broadly inside of the business. Am I now creating fog, or am I creating sunshine? So, like, you go home and say, oh, Em, do you want to go out with dinner tonight? Oh, I'm not sure yet. Fog. Like, oh, okay, great. No, we're going out, or we're staying in, or whatever the story might be. And this is a really important conversation. Is that, like, if you think about it, what do you know that you actually want? Oh, I definitely want these 1 or 2 things. But these things I'm not yet sure about. But if you know that you're sure about these things, then work towards those.
Correct.
And on the things you're not yet sure about, like, take a step towards 1 or 2 things to learn if you like it and get in around it.
Yeah, dip your toe in, see whether or not that's what you want to do. I agree with that.
And so when you get into the moments of fog, realize that's actually okay, but then find some level of clarity and then go all in.
I'm a big believer of that.
And so I just thought, okay, there is no other choice. How do I become the best in the world at this particular thing?
Yeah,
I want to, and with you it's golf, and with me it might be motorcycling, but
it's not golf.
But finding that thing, so you're not committed to it. But finding that thing,
fog.
I'm going to go all in on that and do really well.
I think we've allowed ourselves to have too many plan Bs.
Yeah, sure.
And I actually see that a lot, and I just go, you've seen that film clip with Nick Kyrgios.
Jumping from one thing,
you've seen that with Nick Kyrgios and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
What if you just
fell back in love?
That's exactly right. And I'm not saying about
if you just fell back in love with being a great real estate agent.
Right. But I'm talking about, like, what if you just lent more into enjoying what you do, as opposed to, I have to do this. You don't have to do anything in life, right? This is the brilliance of your life. It's a very short one for everyone.
Yes.
So I look at it and I go, geez, you know what? Honestly, I kid you not, and I don't want to be all, hoo-ha on this. I wake up every morning and go, oh, that's awesome, I woke up.
Yes.
I've already won today, mate.
Yes,
I have won today.
Yes. Yeah.
And so for me, it's about all the little things that we compound.
Yeah.
These little micro wins that kind of, like, one brick after another. And even, today, mate, my first meeting was at 6:30 a.m. this morning in the Hawkesbury. Mm-hmm. I left, the inner west at 5:30 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there driving. I'm like, it's early, it's cold. It's the season's changing. And then I go, geez, it's Monday. I've got 14 appointments today. I've got to do podcasting at the end of the day. There's a lot, right?
Which you're looking forward to that, though.
Yeah, I do, but I get to do it.
Yeah.
Imagine if I didn't get to do this.
Yeah.
What would I be doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, you also get to run the city of surf, I've heard. But interesting enough.
Thank you for putting that out there.
Yes, that's okay. Amit knows. So when to take risks and when you play it safe. And the funny thing is that, like, I continue to do this, but I've been in situations where I've taken risks that I didn't know were risks at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I bought a business in COVID. Never run a business, never owned a business that was loss-making.
Yeah.
In an area that I didn't have one contact in. And at the time, I didn't see it as a risk. And now I look back and I go, would I do the same thing again?
Yes.
And the answer would be probably not.
Yeah.
Right? But I think the risk is, if we continue to, by the way, I'm not saying, like, let's throw caution to the wind. If we continue to play everything safe, really how uncomfortable we're going to get. How are we really going to test ourselves? So, for example, there's an ex-PM that used to work with us, Carol, and I still follow her on social.
Yeah.
And
the vegetable lady.
yes,
really good with vegetables and flowers
exactly. I hope she's listening because she's a beautiful human being, right? Carol Cunningham.
Yeah.
And she's now learning how to do improv comedy. And I think about that and I go, wow.
Yes.
That would be terrifying. Not for, I don't mind public speaking, but the fact that I've got to get up there and I've got to come up on the spot and be, funny besides this podcast. Mm-hmm. But she's taken a risk. Because
you think you're funny on this podcast.
Well, I know I am, please. But nothing grows in your comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have to take risks every day. We get out of our cars and cross the road. That's a risk.
Are you amazed at the beauty of life? Like you just never know where it's going to go.
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful thing that we've got, which is life.
But here's the interesting thing. Like when we first met.
Yes.
Do you actually remember where our first meeting was?
Yeah, it was in Edgecliff. It was in Edgecliff, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
No, I do. It was in Edgecliff, and I met you, and I was like, "Oh, this is the big hoo-ha, Josh."
Don't be like that.
Didn't even give me a side glance. It was.
I needed a stepladder to look up to where you were.
It was at Edgecliff.
Yes.
And it was downstairs where the JC room was. I remember it.
Yeah, right. And then, like, at what point did it go beyond like service provider / McGrath to all of a sudden? Hey, now we're actually good friends. And now we're best mates. And now we can catch up and we can go on a holiday and do those things. Like, do you remember, when did that cross the chasm?
I don't know.
Did I change my haircut?
No. I don't know when that did, but
did Emily make it happen?
No. I just think that, everything happens for a reason.
But isn't that amazing that like we might have known each other for like 5 years prior?
Correct.
And then there's a day where it's like inseparable.
But see, this is the beauty about life though, mate. Is, and there has to be a level of gratitude with this. So, I think that we haven't learned that as a society. And by the way, I am nowhere near perfect.
Yes.
I'm still learning. I'll be learning for the rest of my life. But, man, I'm grateful that I have a relationship with you. I'm grateful that I get to be on this podcast. I'm grateful that I got to wake up.
I just love that we get to do it.
Yeah, I know. But this is what I'm getting to.
Do it again.
So think about you. Like, it's day 70 and I'm at the same open home.
Yeah.
Well, you can go, worries me. I can't believe it. My owners won't adjust. No one wants to buy. Or you can go, how lucky am I that I've actually got an open home?
Yeah.
So I think it's sometimes we need to give ourselves the ability to change the lens and start looking about, hey, what is it that I want in life?
Yeah.
And I think, age is one of those things, Josh, where you do learn because of hindsight and experiences. But, we've got to get into a position where we definitively know what we're trying to achieve. Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
My mum always said this, and I think related to fashion, but it's kind of useful. Be timeless. So be able to spot fads and trends.
Good advice.
But just be timeless. So literally, and I think it's a really interesting space to kind of put yourself into that. Like literally try not to date. And mate, there is a photo of Tom Hector, myself and Phil Harris. And I was wearing a T-shirt, and it was a blue T-shirt. And at the time, it had like a pocket. And I thought it was so cool. That pocket was in fluoro yellow. Every single time that they show me that photo, I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? And I just think like, just be timeless. And it's a really great thing, which is why my haircut is the way it is.
Something that's changing your view.
Con, I think that agents have got to be really careful with social. And what I'd say is I think that some of the social content is tiring really quickly.
Yeah, example?
Like RBA announcements, negativity about what's happening in the market. There's not many buyers right now. There's not many sellers right now. There's not much stock, just like language. And inadvertently, you and I did see a video clip on social the other day where, and I'm sure this person's really trying hard in their career, but they said, the other agent sold it for 800 and we just listed it 4 months later. We've now sold it for 1.2.
Yeah.
Like why? Like I would be worried about that transaction about A, why it was undersold so much, or B, if I was the buyer, why have I paid so much more than what the previous person bought it for?
Correct.
Like without, I don't know if there was development consent or XYZ, but it's just be really careful because if a buyer sees it, like this is a record price and it's 400 grand above reserve, how does the buyer feel?
I totally agree, mate.
The seller, how does the seller feel? And so, and I get that we're in the era of transparency, but what I would say to you is, just be really careful what you're marketing. And you know what? Sold can actually just be the messaging.
Yeah.
And that's like, this one is now sold. If you'd like to buy another one, have a look at this one.
Yeah.
Like learn how to do more jobs.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one too, and I think it's also who's your audience, who's actually watching that content.
Yeah,
are we just promoting this to other agents and agencies because we want to do a bit of chest beating? But like for me, one thing that's rapidly changing, my view at the moment is if I need a solution to a problem. I can do a lot of things. I can Google it. I can chat GPT it. I can ask friends. I can search for a professional. Like what's going to get you to the answer that you're looking for the fastest way? And for me, generally speaking, if I've got something that's on my mind, personally or something, I might call you and just say, hey, Josh, you just help me work through this. So I wonder how many people go about that the long way as opposed to diverting and going straight to a source where, hey, that person's experienced that or has some knowledge in that. So i.e., if I've got a bung knee, I'm not going to call you. I'm going to go and see a chiropractor or an osteo or someone. Does that make sense?
I think like knowing who the people are that have got expertise, but also to being prepared to sit down with a pen and an A3 piece of paper and draw out, and really understand what the problem is and then think about a couple of solutions.
You know what? You just reminded me. There's a young boy, he won't be listening to this, who his father owns the pharmacy in Summer Hill. His name's Will. And if you are Will, I'll see you soon, right?
Yeah.
And he wants to become a property valuer. So I connected him with the head of valuations for Knight Frank. And he said, any suggestions? I said, mate, bring a notepad and a pen. If someone's going to give you their opportunity to give you expertise and transfer knowledge for free, coffee, make sure you're taking notes. It's so interesting that you said that because that just reminded me that for me, if I want to get to a level of comfort mastery, if I want to get to solving a problem, I'm going to find the best person in that field to solve it.
And I just think that, be prepared to go out there and just search and to do it. It was reminding me, Hilary Corner, she wrote a book called One White Face, and it was about her story of working with Toyota in the Kaizen business improvement process, right? And, one of the things that she would say is that, most people in a position, they spend about a minute, defining the problem, but then they spend the rest of a lifetime trying to get a solution.
Right.
Because they don't actually define the problem correctly.
Right.
Whereas Toyota would spend 4 or 5 days, really building out what's the real essence, what's the real problem here. And then they'd spend about a minute in getting the solution. So they worked out the way to reduce all the car crashes. And one of the easiest ways to reduce the car crashes wasn't ABS and it wasn't the airbag. The easiest way to reduce car crashes was actually to remove the human. Because the human on alcohol or, substances or whatever was the one that was causing the issues.
Right.
As opposed to actually the car.
Yeah, correct.
So society wasn't ready for that at the time.
Right.
But so you got to start to really, so what actually really is the problem here? And if we could go to fix that problem and get it right,
yes,
then that would change everything.
Yeah.
So I think that you got to really get the problem definition right before you jump to solutions.